Here is a question for you. What if one of the most powerful, all-natural tools in your home has been sitting in your trash can this whole time? Americans consume about 100 billion eggs every single year, and almost every single one of those shells goes straight in the garbage. But those shells are loaded with calcium carbonate, natural minerals, and a paper-thin membrane packed with collagen and nutrients. Your grandma knew this. She did not waste a single one. And once you hear what they can actually do, neither will you. Every hack on this list costs you nothing. You are already buying the eggs. All you are doing is changing what happens next. Let's get into it. Number 1. Sharpen your garden shears and scissors. Before you reach for that sharpening stone, or worse, toss out a pair of scissors that have just gone dull, try this first. Crush a handful of dried eggshells into coarse, uneven pieces and rub them along the blade of your dull scissors or garden shears. The calcium carbonate in eggshells has a natural abrasive quality, similar to fine grit sandpaper that can knock off rust, remove built-up residue, and restore a mild edge to a blade that has lost its sharpness. To be clear, this will not replace a professional sharpening for your best kitchen knives. For everyday scissors that have gone dull from cutting tape and paper, or garden shears that just need a little refreshing, this is a quick, completely free fix that actually works. It takes about 2 minutes, and you are using something that would have gone straight into the trash. Number 2. Unclog a slow drain naturally. Chemical drain cleaners are harsh, expensive, and genuinely terrible for your pipes over time. Products like Drano work by using highly caustic chemicals that can corrode older pipes with repeated use, and they are not exactly something you want to breathe in either. Here is a gentler, old-fashioned alternative that your grandma probably swore by long before those products even existed. Crush a few eggshells into small pieces, not a fine powder. You want some texture here, and drop them down the drain, followed immediately by a full kettle of boiling water. The shells act as a gentle scrubber as they travel through the pipe, breaking up grease and loosening the soft buildup that causes drains to slow down in the first place. As they settle, they also trap debris and help prevent future clogs from forming as quickly. It will not rescue you from a serious blockage that needs a plumber, but for the slow, sluggish drain in your kitchen sink or bathroom, it is well worth trying before you reach for the chemicals. Number 3. Make a powerful pot and pan scrubber. Stuck on food in a cast iron skillet or a stainless steel pot is one of those kitchen frustrations that never quite goes away. You scrub for 10 minutes, and somehow there is still a ring of burnt sauce mocking you from the bottom of the pan. Instead of wearing out your sponge and your patience, try this. Crush a small handful of dried eggshells into a coarse, gritty powder. Add a few drops of dish soap and just enough water to make a paste, then use that mixture to scrub away. The texture of the shells lifts burnt food and cuts through grease without scratching your cookware the way steel wool or harsh scouring pads can, which is especially important for cast iron and non-stick surfaces. It is effective, it costs nothing, and when you rinse it down the drain, you are not sending microplastics or harsh chemicals into the water supply. It is completely biodegradable, start to finish. Number 4. Soothe irritated skin and treat minor cuts. This is the one that stops people in their tracks, and for good reason. This might be the most underrated first aid tool hiding in your kitchen right now. The thin membrane lining the inside of an eggshell, that delicate, almost papery layer you see when you peel a hard-boiled egg, has been used for generations as a natural wound covering. It contains collagen, hyaluronic acid, glucosamine, and a range of amino acids that support skin healing and actively reduce inflammation. Researchers at the University of Connecticut studied eggshell membrane and confirmed that it contains bioactive compounds that genuinely benefit skin repair and tissue regeneration. This is not folk medicine guesswork. There is real science backing it up. Here is how to use it. Peel the membrane away carefully from a fresh shell. Apply it directly to a minor cut, scrape, blister, or skin irritation. Let it dry in place. As it dries, it tightens around the wound like a second skin, protecting the area from bacteria while the skin heals underneath. It is particularly effective on blisters and small friction wounds. Grandma knew exactly what she was doing with this one. She just did not have the lab studies to prove it. Number 5. Whiten your laundry without bleach. Bleach works. Nobody is disputing that. But it weakens fabric fibers over time, fades colors even when you are trying to be careful, and can be rough on sensitive skin. Here is a gentler approach that works on the same chemistry principle as many commercial water-softening laundry products. Place about a dozen clean, well-rinsed, crushed eggshells into a small mesh laundry bag, or tie them in an old pillowcase scrap and toss the bag into the washing machine with your whites. Hard water, which affects roughly 85% of American homes according to the U.S. Geological Survey, is one of the leading causes of yellowed, dingy-looking white fabrics. The minerals in hard water bind to fabric fibers and dull them over time. The calcium in eggshells helps neutralize those minerals, essentially softening the water naturally and allowing your detergent to do its job more effectively. Run a few cycles with the shell bag, and you will likely notice your whites looking noticeably brighter, without a drop of bleach. Number 6. Freshen up musty thermos bottles and vases. If you've ever left water sitting in a narrow-neck thermos or glass vase for too long, you know the smell that follows. That damp, stale, almost swampy odor clings no matter how many times you rinse it. Because of the narrow opening and curved interior, a regular bottle brush barely reaches the problem. Here's the fix. Drop a small handful of coarsely crushed eggshells inside, add warm water and a splash of white vinegar, seal the opening with your hand or a cap, and shake vigorously for about a minute. The shells bounce around the interior walls like a natural scrubber, loosening residue and buildup you could never reach with a brush, while the vinegar breaks down mineral deposits and kills odor-causing bacteria. Rinse thoroughly 2 or 3 times afterward, and the mustiness is completely gone. This works equally well on stainless steel water bottles, old glass pitchers, and coffee carafes. Most gardeners know that adding crushed eggshells to the soil before planting is a great source of calcium. But here is a trick that most people completely miss. You can actually give your plants a calcium boost right in the middle of the growing season when they need it most. Boil a generous handful of clean shells in about 1 quart of water, let the pot cool overnight, then strain out the shells and use the infused water to water your tomatoes and peppers directly at the base. The calcium from the shells dissolves partially into the water during the boiling process, making it immediately available for the plant roots to absorb. Calcium deficiency mid-season is one of the most common causes of blossom end rot. That ugly sunken black patch forms on the bottom of tomatoes and peppers, and it can ruin an otherwise perfect harvest. This liquid calcium treatment absorbs far more quickly than waiting for dry shells to break down in the soil, and it can slow or stop blossom end rot before it wipes out your whole crop. Number 8. Keep cut flowers fresh longer. This one is surprisingly effective, and most people have never heard of it. The next time you bring home a fresh bouquet or cut flowers from your own garden, drop a small piece of crushed eggshell into the water in the vase before you arrange the stems. The calcium slowly releases into the water and helps regulate the acidity, slowing down the bacterial growth that causes cut flowers to wilt prematurely and makes the water turn cloudy and foul-smelling. Commercial flower preservatives work on this exact same principle. They include an acidity balancer, a sugar source, and an antimicrobial agent. The EGG shell handles the acidity piece for free. It won't keep flowers alive indefinitely, but it can add several days to the life of a fresh bouquet. And given that a decent bunch of flowers can run you $20 to $30, Getting even a few extra days of enjoyment out of them is worth it. Number 9. Polish dull shoes and leather goods. Before commercial shoe polish was a product anyone could walk into a store and buy, people used what they had around the house. One of those things was the eggshell membrane. Carefully peel the thin membrane from the inside of a fresh shell and rub it across the surface of dull leather shoes, a handbag that is starting to look tired, or a leather belt that has dried out. Peel slowly and gently, keeping the membrane intact when possible. The natural oils and proteins in the membrane help condition dry leather from the outside in, while the mild texture of the membrane itself buffs away light scuffs and surface dullness. Follow with a soft dry cloth, buffing in small circles, and you will see a noticeable improvement in the leather's appearance and sheen. It works especially well on black and dark brown leather goods that have started to look ashy or cracked at the surface. Number 10. Deter deer and rabbits from your garden. Deer and rabbits can decimate a vegetable garden overnight, and most commercial repellents are either expensive, need to be reapplied constantly after rain, or contain chemicals you would rather not spray near food you plan to eat. Crushed eggshells offer a surprisingly effective, completely natural alternative. Scatter coarsely crushed shells generously around the perimeter of your garden beds and around the base of individual plants you want to protect. There are 2 reasons this works. First, animals naturally avoid areas where they pick up the scent of predators, and as eggshells begin to break down outdoors, they release mild sulfur compounds that mimic that warning signal. Second, deer and rabbits are cautious animals, and they are deterred by unfamiliar textures underfoot. Refresh the shells after heavy rain, and many gardeners report a significant drop in garden damage. It is not a guaranteed solution in areas with very heavy deer pressure, but as a first line of defense, particularly for smaller vegetable plots, it is well worth trying. Number 11. Make a soothing face mask. This is one of the oldest skincare hacks in the book, and it holds up remarkably well compared to the expensive products trying to do the same thing. Start by finely grinding dried, clean eggshells that have been baked at 200 degrees for 10 minutes to make sure they are sanitary into a near powder using a blender, coffee grinder, or a mortar and pestle. Mix that powder with 1 beaten egg white until it forms a thick, smooth paste. Apply it evenly to your face, avoiding the eye area, and let it dry completely, which takes about 15 to 20 minutes. You will feel it tighten as it dries. Then rinse thoroughly with warm water and pat dry. The calcium powder acts as a gentle mechanical exfoliant, removing dead skin cells from the surface. The egg white tightens pores and temporarily firms the skin as it dries. The collagen, peptides, and hyaluronic acid naturally present in the eggshell membrane support skin elasticity and moisture retention. This is essentially a homemade version of the exfoliating and firming masks sold at high-end skincare counters for $35 to $50 a jar. Use it once or twice a week and you will see why Grandma's skin always looked so good. Number 12. Descale your coffee maker naturally. Mineral buildup inside a coffee maker is one of those invisible problems that quietly ruins your mornings. Limescale, the chalky white residue that forms when hard water is repeatedly heated, coats the internal heating elements, forces the machine to work harder, makes your coffee taste flat and slightly bitter, and eventually shortens the machine's lifespan significantly. Most people either ignore it or spend money on commercial descaling tablets. Here is what your grandma would have done instead. Add 1 tablespoon of finely crushed, dried eggshells directly to the water reservoir of your coffee maker. Run a full brew cycle without any coffee grounds, and then follow up with at least 2 plain water cycles to rinse everything through completely. The calcium carbonate in the shells reacts with the acidic mineral deposits on the heating elements and helps break them down and flush them out. This principle, using calcium carbonate to fight limescale, is the same one used in many commercial descaling products. It takes a few extra minutes, but it costs nothing. And done every month or 2, it will keep your coffee maker running cleaner and longer. There you have it. 12 ways to get real, meaningful use out of something most people toss without a second thought. And from now on, every time you crack open an egg, you'll look at that shell a little differently. One quick but important reminder before you use eggshells for any of these hacks. Always rinse them thoroughly right after cracking, and when possible, bake them on a cookie sheet at 200 degrees Fahrenheit for about 10 minutes before use. This step dries them out completely, makes them easier to crush, and most importantly, kills any lingering bacteria. It takes almost no effort and makes every single one of these hacks safer and more effective. This channel is all about sharing useful, common-sense tips that help you stop wasting things and stretch your money further. We post many more ideas like this, so if you find these videos helpful, subscribe and stay up to date, and your wallet will thank you.